okay, but what's worse? You know, thinking you're being paranoid or knowing you should be?
Hi everyone, welcome to Priority Holder, and today we'll be playing Boomer Jund Round 2 in the Timeless format. And I had to do this. We just got Dark Confidant on Arena, and so as you can see now, we're like way closer to like a classic modern Jund list now that we have this. I mean, we got all the favorites. We got Tarmogoyf, we got Liliana the Veil, we got Bloodbraid Elf, we got Deathrite Shaman, discard spells, removal spells, the works. Now this isn't like true to any like one specific era in modern. I tried to, because Deathrite was banned in like 2014, so this is more like the spirit of modern Jund, as close as I can build it on Timeless. And we have to make some concessions, like we don't have Raging Ravine, Treetop Village, Hissing Quagmire, so I put in some more recent creature lands to sort of give us that effect. But yeah, let's Jund them out. This just looks like an amazing hand. Very classic Jund cards, but yeah, Deathrite Shaman, if it sticks around, will help us really accelerate. Okay, already seeing Surveil Land binning Veil of Summer makes me think Show and Tell. So thankfully we drew an Inquisition, so we'll fire that off, and it is in fact Show and Tell. Had that been like a different opening land, I might have gone Deathrite Shaman, but I mean, drawing Inquisition there, like it's always great to leave with that. And then Tarmogoyf is really strong. So the thing is, like, it's a question of turn 2 Deathrite, or Dark Confidant or Tarmogoyf. But considering that it's Show and Tell, we just got to get them dead. So I'm throwing out Tarmogoyf here because they have such ease in assembling their combo that we need to like hurry and put the pressure on. Like, it's not like a sort of card draw Dark Confidant game. It's a smash them down before they win kind of game. So, and yeah, it seems like Deathrite Shaman is a good play here. Now there's a face-up mana drain on the other side. That's what caused the hesitancy, because we'd rather have Dark Confidant in play as far as like keeping the cards fun, maybe pick up more discard spells. Not only that, we don't want them getting as much mana. So that was sort of a bait spell. Not only that, it puts a creature in our yard. So so they did take the bait. And Deathrite is like, it's threatening in its own right. So, but the main thing was constraining their mana just to keep their options lower. So they're going to get 1 mana off the Deathrite, and we can slam Dark Confidant, smash into Tarmogoyf. And their hand appears to be sort of clunky, so we'll have to see like if they drew anything nice. And they did, unfortunately, assemble the team super strong. Might find them exactly what they're looking for. Let's see if they can put to use the other mana. Okay, so let's see if they can use the other mana. Seek New Knowledge. So that's an alchemy card that lets them basically pull 2 non-land cards from the top and then put a card on the bottom, and really help them with the density of tutors and card draw. They can really find the Omniscience combo. So that is a little concerning. Between those 2 spells they cast, they might already be back in action. So we didn't draw a discard spell, so we're just gonna play Bloodbraid and hope we spin into something nice. Okay, not a discard spell, but just gonna put like a massive clock on them. Basically, they're gonna have this one turn, so we can smash in and put them to 3, and we're just praying that we can make it right here. Okay, so opponent's gonna fire off a dig through time. So they must not quite have it yet. Alright. But they've already got an assembled team, seek new knowledge, dig through time. Like that's a lot of looking. Alright, Misty. Alright, there's the 3 mana, and it is in fact Show and Tell. Now, we can put a land into play. And so the plan now is when they put something onto the stack to crack our fetch and bolt them in response. They have 2 cards that, like, Veil of Summer won't cover this one because we haven't cast any blue or black spells. I think that's only active with blue or black spells. And then inexplicably they Fatal Push in response to our fetch crack because, well, I guess we were safe either way because Hullbreaker has to be in play for it to bounce stuff, but we get them. And if you like seeing Show and Tell get Junded out, please Winter Blast the like button, and we are right into the next one. Now, the limited player in me wants to just keep that hand with Lilianas and Bloodbraids, but I feel like it's just too slow, especially against a Lurrus deck, which we know is going to be really lean. So I went ahead and mulliganed. This hand looks a little better with Tarmogoyf and double Liliana. Would have loved one of our discard spells though. Nethergoyf on the other side. So this is a battle of old versus new right now. So Nethergoyf is super popular right now in like blue-black Lurrus decks, and just plays really well with like, you know, brainstorms and discard spells and Tamiyo and Orcish Bowmasters, the whole that kind of stuff. So, alright, our Tarmogoyf's just going to eat a Fatal Push, and they're going to smash him with Nethergoyf. Now we do have, so we could Fatal Push or we could Liliana minus. I'm a little worried about Spell Pierce, but decide just to go for it anyway, especially because we have a backup Liliana. Just seems like the upside of getting Liliana into play to pressure them is really nice. Now I'm playing like an extremely like old school mentality Jund deck, and decks over the years, like not that many years, have gotten super lean, and so I'm trying to, you know, play with like the spirit of like classic Jund, but it's really tough. Like when you're trying to grind them out with like Liliana pluses and the other deck is more lean than you are, they can empty their hand faster. So I'm suspecting a mana drain right here, so that's why I'm Fatal Pushing first, and it is in fact a mana drain. So trying to figure out what to do, because would love to Liliana plus and just shred their hands. So we're going to try and give them as little information as possible, make them think they still have the Nethergoyf in play. Alright, so they pitch an Inquisition, and I'm going to Fatal Push now. It seems worth it to keep the other Liliana, given like how many threats they have. Now that is real tough. Treasure Cruise in the face of like, makes it so they basically don't even care about Liliana's plus, because they can just refill their hands so efficiently. So let's see what they get back with Mystic Sanctuary, and they get back a Reanimate, and they play a Tamiyo. And you can see what I mean, like literally all their cards cost 1 mana, and they're all insanely strong. I might take another go at Jund and do like a more modernized version, but I just really wanted to try a classic one once we got Dark Confidant. So I'm gonna use the existing Tamiyo to minus away. Sorry, existing Liliana to minus away the Tamiyo. Play a new one. Opponent's gonna bobble in response. I mean, they only have 2 cards left, but the thing is, they have Lurrus as their companion, and Nethergoyf can bring itself back eventually. Alright, so they pitched a Fatal Push. They get the Reanimate plus a mystery card. Psychic Frog. Another one of those new banger cards from recent sets. So they are choked on black mana, so they are not going to be able to reanimate this turn. This makes it pretty awkward though. Psychic Frog, not only is it just a straight up good card. So right now, this fetch, I'm trying to make sure I have Kroxa mana lined up. So that's why you don't get like a basic force there. If we plus Liliana, they just pitch the card to Psychic Frog in response. So even though it doesn't feel great, we're just going to minus Liliana, and opponent's going to be able to trivially kill Liliana by just pitching a card to Psychic Frog. Now they're going to reanimate our Tarmogoyf here because it's actually bigger than Nethergoyf since it checks both graveyards. They can put Lurrus in the hand. So things are rapidly falling apart, and the opponent is going to attack Liliana, and of course pitch something to make it grow. If there was some way to save Liliana here that we can make them like minus the Lurrus away, that'd be like so nice. But actually that wouldn't even matter because they just drew a card off Psychic Frog, so that card's pretty insane. But we're gonna do a little bit of deck thinning right here to try and draw some, like, might still be able to get out of this with like a Bloodbraid Elf and another Liliana. It's something. Once again, the pluses are not doing anything. They can just feed Psychic Frog, so we can take care of something. Now, it seems like sacrificing Psychic Frog there is the sensible choice, since Tarmogoyf is such a fast clock. Not to mention they can just get it back with Lurrus in due time. So Liliana, sorry, Luris comes back, brings back Tamio. Liliana bites the dust, and it's looking grim for us. And then we draw the 4th Liliana. So a little Liliana flooded this game. It, like, just mix in maybe one discard spell earlier on in the game might have completely changed the complexion of how this turned out. But yeah, we are going to fall to like blue-black mid-range. And yeah, with Tamio flipping like that, that's just, we're super dead right now. So move on to the next game. And this is a really nice looking hand. Do have a tap land in there, so we'll have to be mindful of that. Devourer of Destiny. So I love that card. I'll link a deck that plays it called Super Friends if you're interested. I play it in other ones too, but this looks to be something different entirely because there's a gamble in the revealed cards pile, as you can see. So something else entirely is going on. Turn 2 channel from the opponent. Here comes Realm Breaker, and sometimes I'm trying to produce the highlight reel. Other times you're on someone else's highlight reel. And that's exactly what's happening right now. We're just getting whammied with the turn 2 kill. Like, not even quite sure what happened. You could see like the sound is like freaking out. Anyway, we got completely annihilated so fast that we're already into the next game. Now, that deck appeared to be very all in, like with gambles and devourers to try and find it. I think one of our 6 discard spells on turn 1, we could have like easily won that game. I think just taking away their channel, that really slows them down, unless I'm missing something, but that seems to be the entire focus of that deck. So now right now we're playing control, and that was a really tough discard decision right there because their hand was completely stacked. I went ahead and took Teferi because it seemed to be able to get them the most value. Now, really happy to slam Dark Confidant against control. This is where it really shines because it's like its own little threat in its own right. But the fact that it like gets us so much card advantage is like we're fighting control at the very game they're trying to do. So now the opponent has the 2 mana up. So the question is, are they just trying to crack a clue, or is this a mana drain? So that's what I'm sort of testing right here with this lightning bolt. So it did resolve. We know 3 out of 5 cards in their hand, so I'm going to attack in with Dark Confidant here. And the opponent does have a face-up Wrath in hand. Supreme Verdict. So playing Goyf here, because they already have a Planeswalker in the bin, and you know, it's already pretty massive, so we're going to try and like hurry and kill them before they can stabilize, or at least shell out a bunch of damage until our Bloodbraids can take over, like post-Wrath or something. So opponent appears to have sort of like a clunky, slow draw right now. They're hoping to just make it till Wrath happens. But we did get land number 4, which means that it's Bloodbraid time, which is really good against control, because even if they counter the elf, we still get our like little free spell. So we're going to cascade into Liliana, and which is incredibly strong. So the opponent's going to be taking a ton of damage here. So I'm like thinking about what action to take. Gonna just crash in first. So opponent falls to 5. Going to go ahead and plus Liliana, just trying to reduce their options. What do we get rid of? I think getting rid of the other Liliana will be okay. Like, we would love to just cast Bloodbraid, and not only that, but Deathrite can deal direct damage and like finish them off. So, alright, they pitch like one of the new versions of Jace. Now they are going to get to Verdict us here. So all our creatures die. But we have another Bloodbraid in hand. So like, if that spins into like a lightning bolt, then like we're good. So we spin into Thoughtseize, which is basically nearly as good because yeah, and the opponent just packs it in. So nice little win against control there. And on to the next game. Now the reason I mulliganed that first hand is we actually did not have any red mana. We had 2 bolts, 2 Bloodbraid Elves, and so that was just like an unfortunate draw, like, you know, 1 fetch and then we're off to the races that first hand. But unfortunately we had to mulligan, and it's a turn 1 Ocelot Pride, which we don't mess with that. That is one of the creatures that makes Dark Confidant, like the number 1 public enemy of Dark Confidant is Orcish Bowmasters, but stuff like Ocelot Pride doesn't help since it's first strike. Now, this is not a typical energy deck that we're facing. This is actually a life gain deck. So I don't think it's really energy deck at all from the looks of it. So opponent goes 2 Speaker of the Heavens, one of them being a Mockingbird. So we're just going to slam Tarmogoyf. Now, the thing about Speaker of the Heavens, oh, this is bad news, a Righteous Valkyrie. So it can tap to create a 4/4 Angel token as soon as they have 7 or more life above their starting life total. So I'm attacking in here, hoping they block with Righteous Valkyrie. That way we can bolt it to finish it off. Unfortunately, we have no way to trigger Revolt for Fatal Push right now, so we can't kill the Righteous Valkyrie at the moment. So I'm going to slam a Dark Confidant and hold up Lightning Bolt. Soul Warden is really bad news. That's like a massive source of life gain. And the thing is, this is really annoying. A Vexing Bauble, which happens to shut down our Bloodbraid Elf Cascades. Now, I appreciate the hustle against trying to make Show and Tell's life difficult, so I can't complain too much. So, opponent sends in, and somehow we're already at 12 life. We're going to take 4 more right here. I want to keep the Dark Confidant in play, but that Vexing Bauble is like super annoying with the Bloodbraid Elf in hand. Like, that's really tough. Alright, safe hit off Dark Confidant, and you know, there is an argument to just playing Bloodbraid anyway and just trying to trim their life down, because we have to keep them under 27 for both Righteous Valkyrie and Speaker. Basically, it's game over if they can get any activations at 27 life. So I feel like I have to chip in here because Righteous Valkyrie is so dangerous. Like, it represents a lot of potential life gain. Now we've cracked a fetch, so we are able to finally Fatal Push the Valkyrie, and I'm going to just hold on and not Bloodbraid Elf for the moment. So I'm going to bolt the flying one right here, and I think I make a pretty huge mistake right here. I go ahead and trade with the Speaker because I'm like, all right, well, it's gonna leave their board empty. We can start crashing at Tarmogoyf. But I think we needed to keep it out a little bit longer, just to find like a couple more bolts or fatal pushes, just to like really set ourselves up. We are getting to a sort of dangerous spot, but it's greatness at any cost. And I think I was playing too scared that previous turn, so I think I should have kept it in play. Now, here's another mistake right here. The opponent is attacking in. I should just snap no block, but the opponent has a combat trick to kill our Deathrite Shaman, which was like a source of not only direct damage against them, but also life gain for us. And so, anyway, you're not used to playing against combat tricks in Timeless, but still, I should have just respected the attack and that they might have had something. So 2 pretty catastrophic plays and a dead Thoughtseize right here. So now they have a flying Tarmogoyf thanks to their Mockingbird. So it's looking pretty grim. Once again, we're still playing the sub game of trying to keep them under 27 life. And I'm just like really annoyed here because I'm like, surely they need more action. Like, why aren't they cracking that Vexing Bauble? But I don't know if they see how like we're on like a classic Jund version and they know that there's probably Bloodbraid Elves. So either way, the opponent is just refusing to crack the Vexing Bauble. So, and I'm like, okay, finally, all right, they're cracked. So now we get an artifact in the bin, and then they play another Vexing Bauble, and I'm just like, dang it, okay. Now here is a question. It doesn't seem like we can Thoughtseize them. Like how painful our mana base is, like we need more life than that. Okay, so they're cracking this Vexing Bauble. So maybe maybe next turn we could finally Bloodbraid Elf. Like, I really don't want to waste the Cascade, but maybe I should have just ran it out as a 3/2 haste that could just keep their life total low. This is sort of concerning though, because Cleric class is going to boost all their instances of life gain by an extra 1. And now they have Guide of Souls in play. And another Vexing Bauble. So they are just chaining Vexing Baubles. And even though it's not obviously good at this, the opponent just has the Soul Read that we're probably playing like Bloodbraid Elves. It has to be, so still can't get any value off. Now that is nice. Restless Vents is a creature land that has like a rummage ability upon attack, so like we'll be able to like make something happen. This is tough because now they have multiple like Soul Warden effects, each boosted by Cleric class, and we are just sort of bricking right now. So the best thing we can do at the moment is fire up Restless Vents. It at least has like a decent attack right now as a 2/3 menace. So we're gonna send in the Vents and pitch the Thoughtseize, which is just frankly too dangerous to cast right now. But you could see how nice would it be to have a Deathrite Shaman in play, right? You know, like it'd gain us so much life. We'd be a lot more comfortable position. And the opponent has another Light of Hope. That's becoming like, so this is extremely tough right here because so the opponent is functionally at 24 life. So I have to purposely not kill the Lunarch Veteran because with all the Soul Sisters they have in play, if they bring it back next turn, they cruise to 27 life instantly, and then we're dead. And then I'll keep forgetting about Soul Warden, but we gain them up to 26 anyway. So it's really bad news right now. So that combat trick was pretty tough, and more so than the Dark Confidant block, it was the Deathrite Shaman block that I think put me into this losing position right here, because it more so than gaining us life, it would have been able to trim their life total over time by grabbing instants and sorceries and just making sure we always have a way to just try and keep them below 27 until we can dig up enough removal, like find like a Liliana to start minusing or stuff like that. But the opponent has now found a ley line which boosts their life gain instances even more. So this is risky. So we finally can cast Bloodbraid, and of course spin into a Thoughtseize. And Nightmare scenario right here. Bloodbraid entering gains them up to 29. And so now, even with an active Deathrite, we can't lower them because we can only get them to 27 if we do like off one Deathrite activation. So this is a desperation attempt to try and get them, below that requisite life total. But the ley line is actually beefing up all their creatures right now. So the opponent wisely just blocks everything to preserve their life total. And I'm going to move to triple speed here because I hang around for a bit, but the game is functionally already lost because you could see they're able to start tapping to just simply make angels, and we're not going to be able to keep up with that. So we pack it in. That was a tough one. I think it was winnable. Lost off my mistakes. So mulliganing into a much better looking hand. Going to definitely put a land back on the bottom. Seems, with three fast lands, just put the shock land back. Just save some life. Eater of Virtue from the opponent. So makes me wonder if they're like a Stoneforge deck. That's sort of just like an aggro play, but our Thoughtseize reveals 2 Giadas in hand, so it could be that they're an Angels deck and that Eater Virtue is just like a Bone Crusher to push through damage. So, alright, so Giada lands, and yeah, it seems like we should just slam a Dark Confidant, so that's what we came here to do. Let's see if the opponent has any. We already know half their hand is just lands, so. Alright, so they're equipping up Giada, sending in. And that is a ton of damage, and we have a Dark Confidant in play, so that's a little worrying. Like if we hit a Bloodbraid Elf here. Okay, so it's just a Deathrite, so not a lot of damage. And we get a Ridgeline. Sponsored by Honda. So we're going to bolt the Giada. That's just too problematic. I'm really hoping they don't have a protection spell. Okay, so Giada does bite the dust and gets jammed under Eater Virtue. which is a little concerning because it's going to like grant the keyword abilities to each subsequently equipped creature. So we have to remember that. But I figured play Deathrite, play the tap land. Double Dark Confidant right now seems like an unnecessary risk to take. Like just put Deathrite into play. Alright, so the opponent plays Mondrak, naming Angel. So this is an Angels deck. And yeah, this seems like a pretty clear Liliana edict on it. And then we'll be able to like Bloodbraid them next turn. Now we haven't drawn any fetches, so we actually can't Inquisition right now. Yeah, the opponent's seen enough, so we've taken out enough of their threats and move on to the next game. So that one felt pretty nice. It did seem like a beginner deck, or at least not a complete collection, but you know, you got to use what you have, and that's fine. All right, Gigantha on the other side means probably energy, and it is in fact energy. So this is a tough call right here because these are all super strong cards. I ultimately take a Johnny, but there's arguments for many of them. I maybe should have just snagged the One Ring, considering like how he just can't beat that kind of card advantage. A Johnny is risky because if the opponent, let's say, like plays out the Goblin Bombardment and then like waits for an opportune time to play a Johnny, then all of a sudden they have the Johnny Planeswalker, which is like really, really potent threat also. But we do have like removal and stuff. I'm gonna go ahead and run out Tarmogoyf to try and like rush them down, considering it's so huge. And we know they have the Galvanic Discharge in hand, which is not good enough to kill it right now. So trying to figure out what to do. So we're gonna lead with Thoughtseize right here. And the opponent drew a Swords to Plowshare, so that sucks. Like, so Tarmogoyf bites the dust, and gonna take the One Ring right now. Like that's just way too powerful. Like I said, there's an argument to taking that with the first Thoughtseize, and opponent plays a land, and then they drew a One Ring. So we just got completely Thoughtseize bugged right here, and Nightmare Snarrow unfolding. I mean, their hand is sort of blank right now, but we know that energy decks are full of like super potent cards like Guide of Souls, Ocelot Pride, Flage. So, and not only that, but like we can Bloodbraid right now, but they have a ring protection right now, and if we like spin into like a Thoughtseize, that's like a complete blank. So ideally we could spin into like a Liliana or something right now, or Tarmogoyf. That's actually really strong. So the 6/7 Tarmogoyf is pretty nice. I have thought about making like a dedicated Goyf deck that runs all the card types like battles and kindred / tribal, you know. So let me know if you're interested in something like that. But here's where things start spiraling out of control right here. Guide of Souls, Ocelot Pride. All of a sudden the opponent is recouping life and going to be able to start jumping things thanks to the little energy pile. So now we do have a handful of removal, but the question is, can we just keep up with the sheer card advantage of the One Ring? So I'm reluctant to use the bolts here because that can be direct damage to them, which can help close it out. Now, at first I attack, but then I'm like, you know what? Like, one chump block represents them saving 6 life right here. You could see me hesitating, like, all right, I'm just gonna go for it. Like, I want this game has to be as short as possible for us to win, because the longer it goes, the more it favors the player with the ring in play. So I'm gonna bolt their would-be chump blocker. All right, so the opponent's gonna Galvanic Discharge. Even with the energy they have banked up, it's still not enough. But this means they probably have like a bolt to finish it off or something. All right, so they just have another discharge. So that, it was an admittedly all-in play on my side, like bolting the token. But like I said, I feel like I just had to end this game as quickly as possible. But Bloodbraid does get through, and the opponent is going to take a little chunk of damage. But they have so many sources of life gain that it's going to be pretty tough. And it'd be interesting to play like a version of Jund that uses the One Ring, right? So that's something to consider also, like sort of create like an up-to-date version. So I'm gonna bolt the Guide of Souls in response. So our Bloodbraid's gonna bite the dust right here from the Flage trigger. So I just want to reduce the amount of life they're gaining and extra energy. But this is and we do have like Scavenging Ooze that we could draw here to like eat the Flage, but they already have plenty of cards in their graveyard. This is decent because Kroxa will be able to like rumble with Flage. Not as good in this scenario as Flage, but it's something at least. So opponent pitches the Goblin Bombardment to the Kroxa trigger. And I don't always bring it up, but a lot of times when I'm fetching, I'm being mindful of setting up Kroxa mana. Now I'm moving to triple speed here because here's where things just completely spiral out of control. Especially with like the unlicensed hearse. They don't even bother to grab the Kroxas, and yet we draw land and we're dead. So on to the next one. That one, it looks like we got blown out by how the game ended. But had they not ripped a One Ring right after we took the other one, like I think I could have easily won that game. So that's just how it goes sometimes. Alright, Inquisition against a Kahira deck. And a really strong hand. Notice that they have a Solitude in hand. So I go ahead and take the swords because it's just the most efficient card. And boy, I would love to like slam a Dark Confidant right here. That would either get us a ton of card advantage or force them to like pitch cast Solitude. So we at least got Tarmogoyf under the multiple counter spells they have. So now they're just camping on those, and we rip a land, which is not helpful. So the best thing for us to draw right now are like discard spells, things that like can force them to counter them or allow us to attack their hand. So we're just gonna keep holding back. I'm not gonna cast Deathrite Shaman. Just they just snap counter it with one of their 2 counter spells. And just going to try and just pressure them with Tarmogoyf. Now the problem is, if they can get up to 5 mana, they can just hard cast Solitude and then they're like in business. So like, there is a risk in like not playing anything, though it's looking increasingly like that since we keep drawing lands. So that is sort of annoying. So in this build, I'm only playing 2 creature lands, and I think that's a mistake. I should be playing more. So the opponent played an Unmoored Ego, which I was not expecting, but it's really strong against the combo decks. And so they named Orcish Bowmasters, which is like a great choice for, that's what mostly people are playing, these kind of decks. But we're like an old school deck, and so, but they now have seen our whole deck list. So they, they know what's going on at this point. Now the opponent has Solitude mana up. This isn't as good as targeted discard, but this is still pretty strong. So I'm going to Kroxa right here, and yeah, this is going to prompt the Solitude because it's too dangerous for them to let Kroxa go to the graveyard. So they're going to just Solitude it down. And alright, so they pitch a counterspell. So that's something. Now, Solitude has a mana value of 5, so we, even with our Revolt trigger, cannot Fatal Push it, so we have to just sort of camp out at the moment. Alright, so opponent's going to crack Flooded Strand, get a Triome. There's the Leyline Binding. Okay, so now the opponent is going to be able to start recouping life by sending out Solitude. So we did get a Deathrite in play. So we got to see what else we can do. The opponent has mana in another land, so, but that's what I was saying about the creature land. So I'm only playing 2 of them in this deck, but I think a lot of the classic Jund lists, I think, actually played like 3 to 4 creature lands. For situations like this, like there's a good chance you would have like a Raging Ravine in play at this point, or like a Hissing Quagmire, something like that. So I think this deck would benefit from more creature lands. It does potentially slow you down in the early turns, but Now, because Jund, like classic Jund, is so color intensive, I don't think they typically run stuff like Hive of the Eye Tyrant and Den of the Bugbear, which can be untapped in the early turns. Now, our Deathrite attempt could have been fizzled right there with the Mystic Sanctuary, but they instead decided to grab the blanking on the name right now. They're going to grab the card that has allowed them to pull cards out of our deck. Dark Confidant is really nice. Just going to play it right here. And I'm shocked to see them let it resolve. I guess they think that the Wrath can just clean it up. So, all right, Unmoored Ego, that's the card. So now they know what's in our deck list, and they're going to name Bloodbraid Elf, which is one of the better cards against them. And unfortunately, you get to pull all 4 of them out of our deck because it's strong. You know, it represents 2 cards in one, and it really resilient against counter spells. So just stubbornly keeping the Dark Confidant in play at this point, because we just gotta try and outdraw them at this point. So the opponent has Kahira in hand and Mana Drain. Liliana of the Veil. So I'm gonna attempt to play that. This is good in 2 ways. It can kill the Solitude. Okay, yeah, so they're just gonna Mana Drain it. The other thing is, if it can stay in play, it's gonna rip apart their hand. So yeah, so the opponent just grabs that. Sorry, just Mana Drains that. So we're gonna attack a Dark Confidant and keep up the Deathrite Shaman activation. So we're battling this out, and so opponent's gonna play Kahira, and so this is the strength of Kahira in control decks, is that it can pump elementals, of which Solitude and Subtlety are. So like now we can't even trade with the Dark Confidant, and Nightmare Snare right here. Opponent has a Rest in Peace, which is gonna completely nerf all of our Tarmogoyfs and shut off Deathrite Shaman for last. So we're getting one last Deathrite Shaman activation before the opponent slams Rest in Peace. Now it does shut down their Mystic Sanctuaries in the future, but I think it's worse for us than for them. Now, as we resolve this Dark Confidant trigger, let me know in the comments, what do you think the best build for Dark Confidant is in Timeless? Like, is it like in like a Lurrus pile? Is it like in a Jund pile? Or like, how are you going to use Dark Confidant? Now, we do have 2 Deathrites in play, but they are a lot weaker than they were just a second ago. Now, we're at 3 life, Dark Confidant in play, so the opponent is just not going to risk their creatures, and they're just going to try and let us kill ourselves. But we did get a Tarmogoyf and a Restless Ridgeline, so that's 2 pretty potent threats, right? Well, actually no, Tarmogoyf is not a potent threat. It's a potent chump blocker right now. It's a Fairy Time Reveler. That is really annoying. That's gonna get them a new card in hand. Now, I haven't snapped off the Kahira because I have not had a Revolt trigger yet. So we could die right here, and we survive. A Kroxa. Okay, so that is something. Now, it's going to just get exiled to Rest in Peace, but it will at least get us 1 trigger. Like, we can clear out their hand. Alright, so they're going to sink into Stupor our Deathrite Shaman. But they're going to lose 3 life because they didn't have any cards to discard. And Kroxa gave us a Revolt trigger, so now we can take down Kahira. So all of a sudden things have started to turn around for us. So we can fire up the Restless Ridgeline, and it's gonna give something +2 power and untap it upon attack. So like pseudo vigilance. So I'm trying to figure out what to attack with. I should attack with Deathrite Shaman right here, along with the Ridgeline. Just keep Tarmogoyf back. I'm going right at their life total right now just to try and hurry and end the game. Given the untap, should have sent in with Dark Confidant, because either they trade the Solitude for it, or we deal them more damage. So this is a greatness at any cost moment right here. We are at 1 life. We are about to turn things around against control, and we flip a 1 mana spell and die. That was an excruciating loss because it felt like we were behind the whole game, and we were actually like rallying back into it, and just barely, you win with Dark Confidant, and you also lose with Dark Confidant, and that's exactly what you sign up for. So, turn 1 Deathrite, and Iridescent Vine Lasher from the opponent plus Mishra's Bauble. Another Mishra's Bauble. Okay, so, and we're fighting against a Lurrus deck. All right. Now, Vine Lasher is not one you commonly see in Timeless. I actually have tinkered it myself, but it can be pretty potent. One, because there's fetch lands in this format, and it's just, and it can provide 2 bodies. It can be a pretty potent little creature. All right, Mishra's Bauble. So opponent's going to get a couple redraws right here. I'm feeling pretty good about double with Deathrite Shaman. Would love more lands in the graveyard, though. The opponent hasn't cracked any fetches yet. Still hasn't. Alright, so now the opponent has 2 Vine Lashers in play, and you could see how quickly the damage can add up. We're already at 15, and then there's a Dragon's Rage Channeler. So I'm going to go ahead and use the mana on their turn to Fatal Push something, and I'm going to kill Dragon's Rage Channeler. It seems the scariest, mostly the surveils it offers them. Like, the selection is really powerful. We are choked on green mana at the moment, so thankfully we have a fetch that's gonna, charge up one of the Deathrites and allow us to grab a green source. And it seems wise to just Bloodbraid here, though there is an argument to playing a Tarmogoyf plus Kroxa. But we happen to have a really nice hit with Bloodbraid into Liliana of the Veil. So, I'm going to start off by doing a Liliana Edict, get them down to 1 creature. And I was about to attack, you know what, like, if that means like 1 removal spell, and they can attack and kill Liliana. So I decided, let's not attack yet. Alright, light up the stage. Okay, so then it becomes clear that we're facing like a red-black burn deck with some like, tons of direct damage off the Vine Lashers. Alright, Searing Blood is really strong, but we at least still have Liliana in play. Okay, double Tarmogoyf. So it seems like before we show them what we're doing, we're going to plus Liliana, pitch Kroxa since we can bring it back later. Alright, and they pitch an Eidolon, so that's going to be excellent for our Tarmogoyf. It puts an enchantment in the yard, so we could cast the other Tarmogoyf, but it seems better to keep up life gain, because we know we're going to get whammied right here at Static Discharge. Alright, Monastery Swift Spear. Alright, so what I'm going to do is use 1 Deathrite to produce the green mana, and then the other Deathrite to gain us 2 life. Like, better than getting another Goyf in play. We got to gain the life against this burn deck, and leaving the Eidolon, even though it's like a potent thing for them to bring back Lurrus, like we want to keep our Tarmogoyfs as strong as possible. So we're going to leave the Eidolon to keep the enchantment in the bin. Empty our hand plus Liliana. All right, happy to see every burn spell hit the bin. Gonna send in with 1 Tarmogoyf. We got to close this game eventually. Alright, so the opponent is chumping, so they must be pretty confident in their ability to close us out, and they don't want to, like, unnecessarily die. A fetch land super strong with Vine Lasher, so I don't want to die. I'm going to gain life right now, because I don't want to, like, have them whammy us with the burn spell in response to our life gain, like, kill us out of nowhere, especially, like, the fetch land. Alright, so there's Skewer the Critics. So we fall to 4. Alright, opponent's going to crack the fetch. Alright, so we're going to fall to 3. Now, it's at this point where I realize that we actually have lethal on them. So we're now going to go offensive with Deathrite Shaman. Ding them to 14. And all we have to do is Liliana minus their last blocker. And we can crash in for 12. Well, we could just attack with everyone in for even 14, or you can crash in for 12, activate Deathrite. That's the route I opt for. So, 12 damage, activate Deathrite, and we beat Burn. Well, we had about a 50% win rate, some clutch wins and some excruciating losses. So yeah, the perfect Jund experience, I would say. I really think Dark Confidant has a home, despite its vulnerabilities to Bowmasters. Like, it'd be particularly potent in like a Lurist Jund deck or like something really low to the ground. So anyway, I'm very excited to have this card on Arena, and like, it's a really good time to be a Jund player, honestly. I've seen a lot of Jund decks lately. So like, there's Delirium Jund with like Patchwork Beastie and FOMO to like really juice up the creature types, makes like Tarmogoyf and Othergoyf like super huge to easily get these types in the yard. And you know, there's a lot of like classic tools available. Like there's Abrupt Decay, there's Kolaghan's Command, there's Hunt Master, so like you could really build like a nostalgia version as well. But there's also like more recent tools like Minsk and Boo and Nethergoyf that you can use as well. So there's so many directions to go, and I really do think it's a good option in Timeless. Just make sure you pack plenty of discard spells. Thanks for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you want to see even more nonsense, please consider subscribing. And if you're already subscribed, thank you for your support. Your engagement with the channel helps me know what the people want. Thank you.